Okay, we're looking at figure 11.4 on page 216 of your textbook. In this graph, we want to look at the role of the criteria, the incentive to innovate. So if a certain policy has that incentive to get companies to make new technologies. Now, standard doesn't create a good incentive to innovate new technologies. So let's look at an example. Let's just name the axis first. It's the costs, the vertical axis, and then we have emissions on the horizontal axis. Right, now the marginal abatement cost curve is over here, and the marginal damage curve is over here. This is the efficient level of emissions, and this is the maximum level of emissions. Right, now this specific company was initially at MAC1. This company then has to pay a total abatement cost of this area over here. Right, this yellow area is the cost the company pay for total abatement cost. Then the company realized, listen, if we spend a little bit of money on research and development, and we develop new technologies that enable us to lower our margin or our abatement cost, then we can have a cheaper way of cleaning up. So then we have a lower marginal abatement cost curve. Now this is great. We want companies to innovate like this. We want them to create new technologies that could more efficiently clean up any pollutant. And now you'll see if the efficient level of emission is still E star, then they only have to pay this amount over here. So they lost, or they gained rather, not paying this whole part over here. Previously, they had to pay that at marginal abatement costs, but now because the marginal abatement cost curve is lower, they do not have to pay this amount anymore. Okay, but now the government can realize, wait a minute, the efficient level of emissions changed. It's not E star anymore. We have a new equilibrium. The efficient level of, social efficient level of emissions now is not E star, but let's call it E1. It's lower than E star. Now this company has to pay this whole area over here. They have to also pay for abatement costs because they have to reduce the emissions all the way to E1. Now can you see that there's no reason for the company to spend the research and development in order to shift the marginal abatement cost curve down, because eventually then the government is just going to lower the social efficient level, and they have to go pay this extra part on total abatement costs. So this is not a good policy to innovate or to encourage innovation. There's another option though. Let me just take all this away. The other option is the government knew that when we make new technologies, we will decrease our marginal abatement cost. So instead of putting the efficient level of emissions at E star, they put it on E1 from the beginning. Now the company has to pay a very big part in total abatement costs. So this whole area over here is the cost the company has to pay to clean up in order to get to the efficient level. So now there's an incentive for them to lower their marginal abatement cost curve to such a degree that they are at E1, because then they lose this whole area over here, this whole area. And now there's a clear incentive for them to reduce their marginal abatement cost curve. So can you see, you have to be careful in how we get people to innovate more. The previous one, there was unintended consequences. Here we are forcing them to make technological changes. This is a very important graph. You should be able to draw it, and very importantly, you should be able to understand it and discuss it in a question.